of Malcolm X, the political position that he was coming up with. Now here's where it gets interesting, and I'm gonna drop some science on you. Among the places that Malcolm was thinking of, among the places, there was a study of electoral politics. Malcolm was considering electoral politics. The 13th, the OAAU put up 13 things that they wanted to focus on. To actually put up 17. Number 13 is to get people onto school boards. Isn't that interesting? Where Malcolm and company, not just Malcolm, saw the necessity of seizing local politics starting at the school board level. But Malcolm was not simply there. Malcolm went further. Malcolm was at the March on Washington, which he called the farce on Washington. But Malcolm was at the March on Washington, and while in there, he went into the Capitol, and he looked at a board and saw many things up there that some of these main Dixiecrats, some of these main folk who were fighting against the advancement of black people were from districts primarily black. And if those blacks just voted, they could vote them out. One of his famous speeches was saying that, was telling you, in fact, the Ballad on the Bullet was telling you that you make the difference. You can vote them in, you can vote them out. You can make the difference. Let's go a step further. According to William Sales, who is who was with Malcolm, one of the best historians of this period, in the pocket, Clyde, of Malcolm X when he was assassinated was an appointment where he was going to sit down with some people to discuss whether he should run for office. Malcolm, let's be clear, Malcolm examined all. He was not scared of ideas. He was able to examine all of these things. So it is possible that he also considered this. Now remember, he was an admirer of Powell, Reverend Dr. Powell, Adam Clayton, take back Reverend Dr. Adam Clayton Powell Jr., the first, not the fourth. He was an admirer of Adam Clayton Powell. Adam Clayton Powell did many things. Adam Clayton Powell was a flamboyant figure. He who this system tried to take out of office so many times, he actually challenged the system. He said to them, I'm so popular in Harlem, I'm going to spend my time in the Caribbean, and I'm going to win my election. The man was actually down photographed on ships, riding around the Caribbean, and won in a landslide in Harlem. One of the reasons that he won in a landslide was by one of the most clever politicians that you've ever seen. It was Adam Clayton Powell who actually figured out getting food stamps. Adam Clayton Powell he managed to get to the Agriculture Committee. And people laughed at him. They said, how many farms you got in Harlem? And he got a point and he smiled. But Adam Clayton Powell found and helped create a program where farmers would buy in, and everyone would buy in. Farmers would make the money from these food stamps, ultimately. And he created the food stamp program and other programs, skillful. So skillful that Malcolm X even looked at it and said, wow, maybe there are things that you could do. Malcolm X was looking into whether he was going to run for the city council. The city council was often their first step into other positions, including in fact, let's be clear, Adam Clayton Powell was a city council person before he became a congressperson. So Malcolm was exploring electoral politics and saying what could happen. But it would be wrong to stop there and not say a third possibility of Malcolm X. Malcolm X was also exploring armed self-defense. Armed self-defense. But we have to be historical about this one. And speaking of this one, I even need a drink. There is a myth out there of the nonviolent era. For one, we were the only ones nonviolent. No, there was no nonviolent era when only one group is being nonviolent. When I finish, I will take questions, and lots of them, and I love them. You're gonna be the first. There was a myth of nonviolence when we are the only ones nonviolent. However, that period was not without us defending ourselves. There were very worthy organizations which defended the civil rights groups. One, quickly, is the Deacons for Defense.
Bingo.
The Deacons for Defense. Their proper name is the Deacons for Defense and Justice. Where they would grab their shotguns and rifles and tell the Klan and other groups there would be no violence today. None of these folk are getting beat up today. You're not going to do it today. And actually had to enforce that. There were shootouts between the Deacons and the Klan groups over the defense of the civil rights until the Klan groups understood that those guys ain't joking. And the thing about a coward, it's not fun for somebody to shoot back at you. The thing about those racists, that they are hopeless cowards, that when a person stands up, they usually back up if you do it in an organized fashion. But they were not, the Deacons for the Defense and Justice were not the only ones. They were named this because they started out from the church and they were deacons. Another group more known to Malcolm was the Revolutionary Action Movement, RAM, Revolutionary Action Movement, a forerunner to the Panther Party. They actually created Panther parties in different places. Their leader, Max Sanford, was a close associate of Malcolm X. They were in conversation. Malcolm actually joined this semi-clandestine group and joined and said that they were the ones when Malcolm, once some Lincoln Rockwell, you all don't remember these folks. Lincoln Rockwell was a Nazi, a Klan madman who enjoyed inflicting great pain on innocent people, preferably death from his point of view, on the innocent, people who can't defend themselves. He took great joy in making sure that they were tormented. Lincoln Rockwell got up and threatened Martin Luther King's life and said that he was going to take Martin Luther King out. Malcolm X sent a message to Lincoln Rockwell and told him, sent a telegram, and told everybody of this telegram, and said if one hair on Martin Luther King's head is disturbed, if one hair on any of these peaceful demonstrators are disturbed, you will be met with massive retaliation. The folk that Malcolm X was considering using were the people from RAM, the Revolutionary Action Movement. The people from RAM were going to be his cadre, his folk that he could send to enforce what he was talking about. Max Sanford, the leader of RAM, and Mabel Walters, another leader, created RAM out of Wilberforce University down in Pennsylvania, if my memory serves me correct. So RAM was going to be his action force. a force that he actually could have used if he chose to against the Nation of Islam and chose not to. He was repulsed at the idea of these two black groups fighting one another. So I'm going to stop there for a moment, and I hope that there are worthy questions. What do I think that he would have done? I think that you would have seen some combination of all three of these things. I think that Malcolm certainly would have continued to try to aid the civil rights folk by making sure that they stayed alive. And at the same time, some folk would have run for office and started a process. If you really want to look at it, you could see what the Black Panther Party did later. Their survival programs, Malcolm would have done that first. He would have went into the survival programs first. And he would have charted a course towards Sunni Islam. And perhaps had schools and led in that direction. I will stop there for a moment because my friend wanted the first question, and I'm hoping that there are others. You should not take what I say as gospel. You should read further. You should research and see for yourself. In fact, that's one of his main things, where he said, study for yourself. Otherwise, you'll hate your friends and love your enemies. Study for yourself. Sir.
My name is Christopher. How's everyone?
Now you're going to have to do better than that. That man back there, in fact, that person right back you didn't hear.
You guys have to excuse me, like I've been really sick the past 2 days, but I'll raise my voice for today. My name is Christopher. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good. Good.
Very good. Good job. I listened to you speak, and
I will repeat his question. Go ahead.
What you said that kind of got to you. You said we were the only ones emphasizing the non-violent method of resolving our issues that we had in the community.
No, sir. I said that we were the only ones non-violent in the non-violent era. Okay. Meaning that in the context of the United States, we were non-violent. We were by and large non-violent. I am, of course, aware of the Gandhian philosophy, and which he also learned from David Thoreau, who learned from Native American concepts. So this concept of nonviolence I'm very aware of, and certainly in this context it is correct.
I asked, did Malcolm have an appreciation of Gandhi similar to Martin Luther King?
Okay. Well, absolutely. In fact, Malcolm X actually...
What's the question?
Oh, yes. Was Malcolm aware of and appreciated Gandhian philosophy as Martin Luther King was? Malcolm X actually spoke of this, and he critiqued the use of Gandhian nonviolent philosophy in the U.S. Malcolm X's critique is therefore this form. Malcolm X said that in India, there were so many Indian folk that it was like a white mouse sitting on top of a brown elephant, that the English colonizers could not hold on to it because there were so few of them on such a strong mouse. He said in America, it's like a brown mouse sitting on top of a white elephant, and that you cannot use those same methods because you cannot make the elephant do. He's very much aware, everyone was aware, and then and now, of the Gandhian philosophy of nonviolence. In fact, most of the participants accepted it as a tactic. Martin Luther King and company accepted it as a strategy. As a tactic, you can use it in the context. If you meet some folk that you can win over, you should use it. Tactical. Strategical means that you'll use it all time and in all conditions. There's very few things real. Malcolm X further criticizes it when he says, he speaks of the Christians, and he says, you guys are up there saying about your tormentors, forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. And Malcolm X says, man, they've been doing this so long, they're experts at it. They know exactly what they're doing. Nobody was a fiercer critic of these things than Malcolm X. Malcolm X grows an appreciation of this nonviolent methodology. He never accepted it as a strategy. He accepted it as tactical, as useful in the South under certain circumstances, especially if we could have the other side respect your life too. So he wanted to aid the tactic by making sure that people were surrounded and protected, and therefore